Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Jon June. And of course, without a doubt, for this Thursday night preview, got to have my guy, Greg Penniman. Greg, what is good?
What is good for Thursday night football? I thought we would have this really good matchup on paper. I'm still excited for actually see these Cardinals. It's probably my first time seeing them in prime time. So it'd be good to see what they're all about, the last undefeated team in football.
Yep, the last undefeated team, the only undefeated team. Continuing to make me eat crow for what I said about them, and Cliff Kingsbury potentially being the first coach fired, looking like a coach of the year candidate. So excited to break this one down. But as we always do on this Wednesday evening for us, possibly Wednesday or maybe even Thursday morning by the time you listen to this. But gotta give out those streams of the week. So as we do on this Thursday night preview. So, Greg, why don't you start your quarterback stream of the week, man? Who are you recommending to the people?
I'm going, my man, not Joey B. I'm going with Teddy B, Teddy Two Glove, going against that Washington football defense. 3 straight games now. He's got at least 2 touchdowns. And, of course, we attack that matchup. Washington still giving up the worst team against quarterbacks in fantasy all year, giving up over 310 passing yards. Again, almost 3 touchdowns. My reasoning for Aaron Rodgers being started of the week. Teddy B's in a good spot here. They're throwing it a little more actually over the last couple of weeks too. 33 pass attempts last week. The week before, season high 49. So I think he's going to get some pass attempts up in this game. Teddy B, I like it.
I like that one a lot, and you know what? He's Teddy B. If you play in a league like our League of Extraordinary People, even though it's 2 quarterback, but if you played with some of those people, Teddy B probably would not be available. Daniel Jones, who I highly prefer, probably would not be available. So I'm trying to go deep in the bag this week. Ben Roethlisberger, I know it sounds disgusting. It's like something I would never want to do, but the matchup here is juicy. He's rostered 21% of Yahoo leagues going up against Cleveland, was given the most fantasy points to quarterbacks over their last 3 games. They've allowed the 6th most passing fantasy points per drop back on the year. Big Ben's not doing it any other way. He hasn't been very good, but his weapons have, and they're in a good spot as well. Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris. So Big Ben, all he has to do is not turn the ball over, and I think that this is a pretty easy matchup for him. But again, I reiterate, I would prefer Greg, your stream of the week, and Teddy Bridgewater. I would prefer Daniel Jones. Kirk Cousins is somebody who I know was dropped in some 1 quarterback leagues potentially over the week. So, I prefer all of these guys over Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, Ben is rostered in 21% of Yahoo leagues, and Teddy's rostered in 24. So yeah, they're both pretty low. You guys,
they're both pretty low,
yeah.
pretty available. So go get you Teddy. But Greg, what are you going to do about your tight end spot this week?
Tight end spot, some options, but I'm definitely gonna go with CJ Uzomah, a guy I brought up on the streaming episode for waiver wire pickup. He's getting again a couple touchdowns in the last 2 games, at least 1. Going against this matchup against the Jets. Jets are going to be out there and going to be a huge game for everybody in company. So I like CJ Uzomah.
Yeah, I got CJ Uzomah pretty high in my rankings this week. The Jets have not been great against the tight end. Running backs and tight end is where they struggle, especially, and so have not been great there. Uzomah definitely pops as somebody that can have a big game this week. For me, I'm actually going to go with Evan Ingram, rostered in 32% of Yahoo leagues. Kansas City over the last 3 weeks gives up the 7th most PPR points to tight ends. Over that same time span, Evan Ingram's actually seen the highest target share on the team. I like his opportunities here with 14.5% target share against the Kansas City defense that tends to struggle against the tight end position. So he's also being talked about as a potential trade candidate. So maybe you get that feature in this game before the send off. So Evan Ingram, I like that one this week.
Yeah, that'd be pretty nice if you like end up getting him. He balls out, and also he gets traded maybe to a better situation. So that's like a nice even waiver pickup and a stash almost possibly. So, yeah, definitely like that right there.
Yeah, especially like what happened. I mean, for Zach Ertz, right? Because that was like almost exactly what happened to Zach Ertz,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Somebody was like, "Oh, you could pick him up." Dallas Goedert's out on COVID, start him this week, and then he gets traded to Arizona and ends up in a much better situation. So, um, Greg, who's your defensive stream of the week this week?
This week for defense, I believe I'm going with the Chicago Bears going against San Francisco. They're 26% rostered. They're actually tied for the league in team sacks at 21. Let me get into the quarterback a lot. They're also top 5 in fourth down stops. Talk about how we like those leagues where they have the fourth down stops, get counts those for points. So in those leagues, they're in play, and they're going against San Francisco, a team that's not really going to kill you offensively. Just want to maybe run the ball and get establish that, but I think they can get Jimmy G and get some sacks in this game.
Yeah, definitely there. I'm actually going to go with another low roster defense here. Atlanta, 9% roster in Yahoo leagues. I actually went with them in the League of Extraordinary People. They're 3-point favorites at home, playing against Sam Darnold, who struggled over the last three games, completing 52% of his passes for 2 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I like the Atlanta defense to potentially take advantage here, especially playing at home again. So definitely like that.
Yes, sir.
All right, Greg, let's move on. Let's move into this matchup, man. The 6-1 Green Bay Packers travel to Arizona to take on the 7-0 Arizona Cardinals. This is a 50.5 point total. The Arizona Cardinals are 6.5 point favorites. In terms of the weather, this game is in a dome, so that's not a concern to us. In terms of the injuries on the Arizona side, J.J. Watt, he will be out with a shoulder. DeAndre Hopkins will be questionable with a hamstring. On the Green Bay side, Devontae Adams, he is out as he was placed on the COVID list. Alan Lazard was a close contact, so he'll also be out.
Tough.
And he was placed on the COVID list. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is set to return from injured reserve with that hamstring injury, so could potentially look to him to step in. But I'm gonna actually take the under here. I'm gonna take the Green Bay Packers to cover 6.5. Aaron Rodgers, I'm not going to count him out there. And the Arizona Cardinals, I will take them to go 8-0 here. In terms of the fantasy analysis, Kyler Murray is the top 2 quarterback option on the week. DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, he's dealing with this hamstring, has not popped up on the injury report with the hamstring all season. It's a short week, so just be mindful it could limit him. I mean, season long, you're going to play him from a DFS perspective. Maybe something you want to think about, but steps in as a borderline wide receiver 1. Uh, you know, After that, in terms of the pecking order, I would go Christian Kirk, and then I would go AJ Green at wide receiver. Rondale Moore, he's somebody who he's flashed definitely, but I don't think that he will really have a role outside of an injury or him just flat out taking a job from somebody. So until that happens, I think that he's either a stash, or if you can't afford the stash, he's probably someone you could send to the waiver wire. But tight end, I think Zach Ertz, obviously a tight end 1 option. Chase Edmonds, James Conner, both RB2 options. On the Green Bay side, it's already a tough matchup for Rodgers as it is. Arizona is the number 1 team against the quarterback position over the last 3 weeks. Um, they, I, and he's already missing his top weapon in the passing game with Devontae Adams. So I will be fading him this week. I have him firmly in quarterback 2 territory. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow ends up as a QB1 just because he's that special. But at the end of the day, the cards are stacked against him, and we're playing this game of probability. So I will I will fade. Aaron Jones, I think gets some Alvin Kamara treatment this week. I think he has to, right? Like, there's no one really else to generate offense outside of him. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I think, is going to take some deep shots, but again, this Arizona secondaries, our Arizona defense has been pretty good. I actually really sneakily like Amari Rogers, though. I know Randall Cobb's probably going to get a lot of pub, but I think Amari Rogers, similar to, not saying he'll be like Kadarius Toney or anything, but similar in that fashion where that talented rookie has no choice but to get on the field because of injury. So I'm excited to see this game, excited to see how it breaks down. Greg, where are you at with the matchup and everything?
Yeah, I think I'm with you on the matchup as well. I have the under, have the Packers covering, I have the Cardinals winning. I was with this being one of those ugly games for the Packers, but I heard a stat. Rodgers is 6-0 in his last 6 games without Devontae Adams. So he's been surviving without him. He's been able to eat without him. He's Aaron Rodgers. So on the Green Bay side, I had him as a high in QB2, but I think he can get that QB1 week. Losing Adams and Lazard will take a hit on his overall performance, but I think he'll survive. Using Aaron Jones is where that will come into play. Aaron Jones should pop off in the spot, especially as the receiver. He's a top 5 RB play for me, especially in PPR. He might finish as the RB1 this week. Yeah, if you're in that wide receiver pinch, if you were the Adams owner, you probably got Lazard. And then if you had Lazard, MBS, a little dropper from those two, but I think he's in play if you're that desperate in the situation. It's Thursday night, so you have to make a tough decision. Maybe Randall Cobb probably get more reception. So in a PPR league, if you were going for the safer floor, I think I will go with Cobb. And Robert Tonyan, I think, should hopefully be more involved to get those targets in the red zone and get some touchdowns. He was able to get some work last week. On Arizona side, love Kyler Murray, top 3 option, of course. Chase Edmonds, he's a solid RB2 for me. James Conner in that upside RB3 flex category. I love the ops matchup in this one. He's got a cake matchup. I think he should go ballistic in this game. And yeah, the pecking order, I'm with you. D-Hop, AJ Green, and Kirk, kind of the same upside wide receiver 3s with, get the wide receiver 2 value. And then Zach Ertz, and then even Chase Edmonds still is targets. It's a tough thing for Rondale Moore. He's packed behind that depth chart like Van Jefferson.
Yeah, man. It's pretty unfortunate there for Rondell. But yeah, to the Tunyon thing, I think I agree. I think Tunyon gets some opportunities. The only thing that scares me here is that Arizona has literally been the top team against the tight end. There has been no team better than them. They have not allowed a touchdown to a tight end all season. So
that's where he makes his money, really, pretty much.
Exactly, and that's where Tunyon does make his money. So
yeah,
I'm curious to see. But Rodgers, we know how special he is down there, especially in the red zone, and so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to take. If I'm desperate, like I would take the shot on Tunyon because it 100% makes sense. Like there's nobody else that you could reliably trust around Rodgers to get these targets.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, you got a bold prediction for the people, man?
I do. I'm gonna go. I guess it's Aaron Jones. I think he gets over 100 receiving yards. Like he's gonna go ball out. I think you said it perfectly. Get that Kamara performance. Just they're going to leave him open, play a little deep. He's going to get a lot of first downs for them, move drives, and just eat up targets and receptions.
I think we see him lined up at receiver, like, honestly.
Yeah.
We'll see him lined up at receiver. They'll put, like, A.J. Dillon or Kylan Hill in the backfield and try to just, operate that way or some, in some situations. My bold prediction, I'm actually going to go with Amari Rogers with 10 PPR points.
Okay. That's a good spot start right there, especially. That's awesome right there.
Yeah, so Amari Rogers, 10 plus PPR points. But yeah, I mean, unless you have something else, Greg, we will call it here, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 2 tight ends on buy. I was thinking of Robert Tonyan thing. So yeah, maybe you could pull the trigger, or you could just go with the off streams of the week. Go always do that too.
Could definitely do that. Just I guess since we're here, mention it. What are your thoughts on the trade to get Mark Ingram from the Houston Texans back over the New Orleans Saints? Any thoughts there from a fantasy perspective? Since we're talking about Alvin Kamara a little bit.
Well, when Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram were there, it didn't impact Kamara as far as he was getting the same usage as he got a lot of usage last week because he was really the only usable piece. But I think that will kind of help the offense. It kind of take a little wear off Kamara. I mean, I think that will only help him a lot more for the receiving numbers, which we love.
Yeah, and I think it helps him in the long run, right? Because that was one of the things I had been saying is that, hey, like get Tony Jones, because when
Right.
Kamara gets all this work, like he's known to break down, and like you said, had the most touches. Uh, he had the most touches that he's had over these last couple weeks through a 2 game span. It has to be, and
Yeah.
he's been the focal point of this team. Where I think the Saints and Sean Payton, the fact that they don't have Drew Brees, the fact that they don't have Sean Payton or Michael Thomas, the fact that they have to become this run-oriented offense, like they need more than just one back. And Tony Jones on IR. At least when Mark Ingram comes back, you can cycle these 3 guys in and still use Kamara. Not situationally, but you don't have to feed him all of this work, and instead if that could allow him to play an extra 2-3 games in a season, right? And that's more important than having him touch the ball every snap for an entire game, I think. So we'll see how that impacts. So I immediately went to check the waiver wires to see if Mark Ingram was available. He was not, because I think that that's actually a much better spot for him. That's a better offense, a better situation, and I think that he'll probably still be an RB2, or not RB2, an RB3 or 4, but he'll have some RB2 type weeks, I think, and I think that's the important part.
Yeah, they're on a good team. They're gonna get red zone opportunities, and he'll get some goal line touches for sure too.
Yeah, definitely. And then there's also that built-in upside that if Alvin Kamara does happen to go down, that he's now in the could be the guy in the backfield. But
Yep.
All right, well, we'll leave it here. Obviously, everybody, you know where to catch us tomorrow, right back here for our game previews part 1, covering the 1 p.m. games from week 8. And then obviously, we'll be back here the day after to break down the afternoon games, the primetime games, give out those starts of the week, and play some get money. So with that being said, y'all, we appreciate you. And we are out of here. Peace.
Yes, sir. Yeah.